Hello and welcome to week 3 in society and technology, or sociology and technology, or whatever we're calling this class. Either way, here we are, chapter 2. Good job on chapter 1. We are going into technology and history, and we're starting off with an introduction to an idea that was presented by Marvin Kranzberg, and this is the 6 laws of technology. Now, these 6 laws, presented in 1986, this is a historian, philosopher, will shape kind of how we go about looking at the different aspects of the interaction between society and technology throughout the rest of the class. This is almost a framework that we're going to be using. So I wanted to introduce it here, and let's take a look at each one of these. First, technology is neither good nor bad, nor is it neutral. And you'll find some interesting ways in which Marvin talks about these things. Not good or bad, but certainly not neutral. This is an interesting one. This actually kind of got me hooked up for her a little while, figuring out how this actually works. We will often see the statement, necessity is the mother of invention. When we have a problem to solve, that's what gets us creative. That's a truism, that's fine. Marvin, however, turns it around and says invention is the mother of necessity, meaning every time we invent something and technology advances, it has a need for other technologies to advance as well. So, for instance, take the iPhone and iTunes. Now, we had an iPhone which gave us the ability to get on the internet in a very, very easy way. Mobile computing beginning, in terms of large scale right there. Now, there was other stuff before, but the iPhone was sort of a line in the sand that passed. And we had this, what was going on at that time was digital distribution of music illegally. So once there was a platform, it created the opportunity and necessity. If I'm going to put music on this thing, I need a new technology. And that's where iTunes came in. iTunes was invented. It was the first to actually negotiate digital distribution with record companies. And here we are, where it's hard to find someone who actually has CDs and albums and tapes and stuff like that anymore, when you can actually just stream your audio right to your device. So the invention produced more necessity. And we'll see this as it sort of affects our interactions with technology. One of the things about some of these technologies, such as the iPhone, is it creates in us a solution for needs we didn't even know we had. Now, we always want to have a communication device, but did I really ever think that I needed a device to look up comparative prices, or to communicate with friends of mine immediately, to coordinate when we're going to meet at a particular restaurant and order together? These kinds of things that are now easy to do, we were doing them in very different ways, and we probably thought all was well. A little inconvenient. Now, because we have inventions, it actually creates new needs that we have because we have those particular inventions. We move on. Technology comes in packages, big and small. Sometimes it's a lot of stuff together, sometimes just one thing. Although technology may be a prime element in many public issues, non-technical factors take precedence when we're making policy. It's a very important thing right there. All history is relevant, but the history of technology is most relevant. And technology is a very human activity, and so is the history of technology. So these are going to be guiding principles here. And I discuss in the course book what is technology, and then we start to look at how we have defined epochs in history based on technology. The historical ages. I go into the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, the Middle Ages, what was going on there, the Renaissance. Then we go into the Industrial Age, going into the modern era of capitalism and comparison to socialism, the Machine Age with that Industrial Revolution Age, the Nuclear Age, Space Age, Information Age, Internet Age, each one of these. And when we look at that timeline, we see how important technologies changed our society, changed our worldview. I then switch and I take from my sociology class a story where it's a mythical story, but I take an industry, shoemaking, and I look at it through the lens of historical changes that have occurred in our society. I make it personal with Mr. Shoemaker, Hans Shoemaker. I want you to read the Shoemaker story, and I want you to recognize where technology comes in and starts to transform the landscape of what buying shoes is all about. To the point now that really, back in the day, you would have a cobbler who would measure out your foot. They would have a wooden sculpture, wooden shape of your foot, and they would build shoes around it, and they would keep all these wooden feet with them, and when you needed a new shoe, you would go in and they would make the shoe around it. Now this is even after the previous technology. This is, the Hans Shoemaker age. He had these wooden feet, build shoes around you when you needed a new shoe. Somewhere along the line, they standardized the sizes for mass production, and now we have to kind of try shoes on to see which one fits the best when we go buying shoes now. So this transition of moving from customized to industrialized is exemplified in this particular story. And of course, other technologies coming in at the same time really changed the landscape of what Mr. Shoemaker was going through and introduced the modern need. And this is another one of those inventions. All of these inventions created the need and I make the argument here, the need for sociology. The actual field of sociology was a reactive, building upon philosophy, but a reactive, like, we need to start understanding social interactions between people because we have these social problems that are starting to come up because of these advances in technology. So, direct relationship between technology, how it's changed our society, and then how we've had to respond to those changes. So then we look at what I'm expecting you to do for this week, and there's a discussion where I'm having you look at those 6 laws of technology, and let's just have a kind of an overview discussion about this. What do you think? Pick one, pick two, pick any, discuss those, and we'll interact about that. And then I go into a quiz where what I want you to do is I want you to kind of, for a little bit, think about your field the same way I thought about shoemaking. Maybe do a little bit of research. I mean, how did it begin? What was it like back in the day? Those kinds of things. And write a brief essay showing some of the ways in which the interaction between technology and society that I portrayed in the Shoemaker story also happened in your particular industry, be it electronics or nursing, or what were some changes that happened that changed the way in which people perceive your field, people interacted, and changed society in those ways, powerful technologies that come along. So that's our task for this week as we venture through here. And so I will see you on the discussion boards. Have a great week and take care.